about 5 years ago, I think we've totally rocked J&J's world. We're certainly trying to influence some of the more traditional aspects of our company, from benefits to um, even workforce planning. We've changed a lot with the advent of the shared service. One of the interesting things we've done is we've set up the shared service exactly the same as our commercial side. So, we're co-located, our structures are the same. And so we are, in a way, forced to really have to integrate the old world with the new world. I think one of the things that we've had to get through to Jeremy's earlier presentation, there were some myths that we had when we said we were going to start this workforce. A lot of the profiles were very young. But what we found is, there are some old ways that maybe you just need to tweak a bit, but it still works. So when we do training, for example, we've had to integrate certain aspects of it, but I think the contents and a lot of the things we teach are still fairly the same as what our enterprise programs are. We've found that a lot of young people actually want face-to-face interaction, for example. So we've seen some trends around trying to introduce gamification, new technologies, but we found that there is a space for still having what we call coffee talks, where our leaders get to spend time with our employee pool. So I think we're still in that process of trying to find that perfect balance of still trying to stay true to who we are as a company, but also embracing where the industry and the workforce is headed. Yeah. And I think for all of us, that's just the beginning of the journey. But obviously, sessions like this really help us to prepare for what's to come.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Jory. Very interesting. Anyone would like to respond to that? Work in progress. Looks like a hybrid solution, right, Jory? Yeah, a cross between two generations, or the old world as you say it and the new world as we know it. And again, what really is the new world, right? What's new world tomorrow is not new world today, or vice versa, right?
I used to work with Accenture for about 27 years before I retired, and now I was retired for 1 year, and I'm back in the corporate world, and it's good. I'm with Alexander Man Solutions, and I'm with Kay. The funny thing is, when you start talking about Gen Y, Gen X, I said, wait, Kay, how many people are 50 and above in our organization? Oh, there are only two. That's me and another guy. And then, how many are, 40s? And then we realized, just a few of us, a few of them. So 95% of our workforce are actually Gen Y or millennials. So very interesting. I do agree with the point made earlier about their need to collaborate and their need to be involved. As a result of that, what we had to do was we had this project in the organization. It's called Project Leap. It's all areas. So how did we come up with that? We gathered all their concerns, and then we started sectioning it or segmentizing it. So there was something on voice of the employee, there was something on leadership, on the communication strategy, on enabling the workforce or talent development or training, and then facilities. And what we had done was we organized little teams, and they actually were part of those teams. And they started identifying solutions to the problems that they had brought up. So that was perfect. And on an ongoing basis, we have what we call World Cafe, which is, it's really like a focus group discussion. It's just a nice string to it, World Cafe, but it's a focus group discussion. We have 5 pods. Each pod would have a particular topic that we'd like their opinion on. And so it's little focus groups. And then they actually give their opinion, like if they're satisfied with something or they're not satisfied with something. But if they're not satisfied with something, the next question we ask is, so what do you suggest we do? Okay, so far, I just joined the organization in January 2016. So prior to that, the feedback that we've got in, Glassdoor, that's where they go and complain, right, was really bad. Lately, knock on wood, no complaints anymore. So that's a marked improvement in the way we manage them and getting them involved.
Sounds very interesting and very exciting. So I guess through their own involvement, then they remain committed, they resolve their own issues, they understand their own concerns, they hear their own voice in that forum through those clusters of issues that they've raised themselves, right? Thank you very much. I think we have only some time left for Jeremy to close comments on this second question, then we need to wrap up. Thank you once again. Thank you, Jory, as well.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, first of all, I'll talk as a business rather than a provider in this, because in our own shared services part of the business in Europe, we use World Cafe as well, and it works particularly well from an engagement point of view, particularly if you are actioning the suggestions and the solutions and driving that back to the individual group, saying, okay, you're going to be the community of practice to drive that through. We'll see you in 2 weeks with the solution, please. And that's interesting. And for our own team leaders, who they probably they operate somewhere between 8 and 16 people on the floor in terms of our call centers. We operate something called, you've heard of speed dating. We do speed coaching. And we do it from a group perspective as well as an individualized coaching perspective. So we have a cadre, obviously being a learning business, we have a team who are coaching the coaches, first of all. We have scheduled, within the rota kind of system that we have scheduled group coaching sessions, which are no more than 20 minutes long on one specific topic or area that we then kind of provide about sort of 5 to 8 people in there, followed up by individual speed coaching, so sort of 3-4 minute coaching shots, if you like, with it. But engaging, it's very, very kind of engaging from that point of view. All of the team know about it. All of the management and team leaders are bought into it as well. And that is a really key thing. If you've got the buy-in and the commitment and the involvement, you've got the action that comes from it as well. So the whole idea about doing that is that there will be observable action, either following a group coaching speed session or a short coaching session, a one-to-one. So let me come back to the question. Which is, I think there are 2 fundamental issues. The first is about catch-up, and the second is about the future. How do we catch up in terms of the essential skills that we need our managers and leaders to display? To sort of, coming back to something that you were saying, Penny, is that, we do have people who are promoted early because they're particularly good at their operational role, but might not have the management savvy or know-how, and they need help. And that is the basic skills that we do now particularly well. We do need the essentials and the fundamentals, those courses that we do, but we're playing catch up. The problem I've got is that how much time have we got left before we start to really come up against the roadblock of the 2020s and the speed of change? Because we've got a whole lot of future skills that we need to put on the table as well. Those collaborative skills, remote skills, the bias and diversity kind of know-how. I mean, how can an inexperienced manager, it's a minefield out there, from a diversity and bias point of view. Make one mistake, particularly in a unionized business, you're creating a big headache for yourselves. I've just posted on LinkedIn, actually, an article probably a few days ago on kind of what are the 5 new skills that leaders and managers need as we approach the 2020s. And we've picked up on most of those now. And those kind of collaborative elements and getting more technology savvy up the line so that we can collaborate better, work better, and co-work better, not just train or coach better, is going to be absolutely key. And particularly in some of you here, where you've got customer sets that are everywhere in the world. You've got the cross-cultural sort of global village element to it as well. What's happening in terms of management know-how there as well, and the tailoring? So there's quite a lot there. So go onto LinkedIn, connect with me, have a read, tell me what you think, add some new skills in. But I think there's a lot to do.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Probably have a minute. Any final comment, either from Penny or from Rita or both, before we hand it back to Benji? Any final comments from your end?
For us in this exciting, crazy world of the IT BPM industry, And as you will hear, we're doing a roadmap 2022. The growth will not stop. So how ready are we? That's the question. You know, I attended NASCOM, and the NASCOM said the title of the NASCOM conference. You know, NASCOM, our India equivalent. The title of the conference was "Disrupt or Die." So, if we don't, if we don't adapt, where will we go? So it's a challenge for us, but it's a challenge that I know that we can handle, but we need to be ready.
Thank you, Penny. And we'd like to say thank you to our panelists. Thank you once again to Rita, to Jeremy, and Penny. Let's all give them a hand. And of course, our very engaged participants from the floor as well. Before you leave, invite our photographer up for a very quick group photo. Can we do that? Thank you very much, Rita. Thank you, Jeremy. And thank you to Penny. We'll just have one quick group photo, then we'll have our final raffle, and we'll hand off the microphone to Benji for his final comments. Thank you very much. Let's give them a big hand once again. All right, at this point, I'd just like to hand over the microphone to President for POWERinU Training and Coaching, Benji.
I think this has been a very engaging and thought-provoking afternoon. I think we could, June was right, we could actually go on about, based on the topics that we have taken up for today, but we do have time constraints. Before I turn the floor over to our IBPAP for your association updates, I just have a few things to say. On your way in, this afternoon you received a small token of appreciation from POWERinU. That's by way of a thumb drive. I'd like to let you know that we preloaded that thumb drive. No, not with the e-learning modules, sorry. They're too big, it's not gonna fit. We preloaded them, however, with information about POWERinU, SEGOS, I think it includes the catalog, so that if and when you need to access that, you don't need to actually have a Wi-Fi around. So you can look up information about our organization, and SEGOS, our partner also. And during the break, we had actually a lot of inquiries. A lot of people went to the demo area, played around with the e-learning modules. And so we had a discussion with Jeremy about offering making an exclusive offer to IBPAP members. And I need to make sure that this is done correctly. By way of a limited time offer only, it's called our starter pack. Okay, this is made available to members of IBPAP until the end of May of this year. It allows you to actually do a trial of SEGOS's award-winning e-learning modules for a price of a small amount of 96,000 pesos, exclusive of VAT. You will be able to select 3 modules out of 8 available bundles, actually, each one containing between 4 to 5 modules. This bundle you'll be able to utilize or assign to as many as 50 users in your respective organization. So what are those 8 bundles to choose from? These are the 8. Again, you don't need to take pictures or make copies, because this information is also preloaded in your respective thumb drives. So with that, we hope that you'll get an opportunity to try out the SEGOS e-learning modules, and we would very much like to hear from you. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach us.
So basically, we'll be giving you updates on research, talent development, and HR. So we're all from Gen Y. So as you can see, we'll be presenting to you what updates and what accomplishments we have done for 2015. So for the research team, I am the research specialist of IBPAP. So we're composed of Ms. Penny as our ED for research and talent development, Ms. Ana Peña for the Senior Research Manager post. So I'll be presenting you our updates. So basically what we do in the research team is we give information. So maybe you had interactions with me in emails or phone calls. So we provide data to the industry. So we try to give sense to the numbers and also the performance of the industry. So we had some topics on some of our initiatives. So I'll be discussing it to you this afternoon. Okay, so earlier this year, so in March, we presented Next Wave Cities. So this was presented in March 30 in our GMAM. So Next Wave Cities is a study wherein we try to rank and to assess cities based on these 4 metrics. So talent development, cost, business environment, and infrastructure. So what's unique about the Next Wave Cities this year is that we elevated two cities to centers of excellence. These are Iloilo and Davao. And we had some awarding in our GMAM in March. We gave some recognition to the top 10, to the centers of excellence, to the emerging locations, and special awardees for talent, for cost, for business environment, and also for infrastructure. So this material, the Next Wave Cities flyer or fact sheet, is available on our website. So if you want to get a copy of this, you can check our website, and also I can walk you through to in our website. Okay, for the roadmap, Ms. Penny has mentioned this earlier. We're on our 3rd roadmap. So what's different in our roadmap 2022 is that we'll set the targets or our goals for 2016 to 2022. So the difference now is we'll be focusing on the sectors. We'll have subsector roadmaps for the contact center, for non-voice, for animation, software development, GICs, and other growth areas. So for our progress in the roadmap, we actually hired a consultancy group, Frost and Sullivan. So we're on our data gathering and interview stage. So some of you might be invited in these workshops and there's interviews so that we can get inputs from you. Because basically this is our roadmap. So we would really appreciate your participation and also your involvement in the interviews in the workshops so that we can also strategize. As Ms. Penny mentioned, we have a lot of things to be ready for. So we have to make sure that your inputs are also gathered and also we present it in a way that we're really prepared for what's happening in the future. Okay. So some of you are familiar faces. Last February, we conducted a survey of what research data or research topics you're interested in. So on our end, we tabulated the responses and we got these results. So basically, this is the question on what data or research topics the HRCC members are interested in. So we have employee engagement at 20%, retention trends at 19%, talent acquisition trends and talent development were 15%. So rest assured that the IBPAP team will consider all these topics and suggestions. We'll have 3 mini surveys for this year. Actually, we'll launch our 4th mini survey soon. So this will be on talent supply source. So we'll be selecting some members of HRCC to also comment on this survey. And we'll be launching it to you guys so that we can also get your inputs. And these inputs will also be useful in our making of programs for the HR Summit and other programs at IBPAP. Okay, so that's all for the research team. If you have any questions or concerns regarding industry data or some research needs, you can also send me an email. So these are our contacts for the research team, or you can also shoot an email to Ms. Penny. So we'll also rest assured that we'll also address what you want to know. So we'll try to make it a more industry centric and data centric year for the IBPAP members. So thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Paige Huron from the talent development team of IBPAP. So today we've mentioned that getting people ready is important. So I believe that this program that we're having in IBPAP is a unique way to address and to make people get ready, which is strengthening the industry academe linkages during the K-12 transition period. So the K to 12, much more than simply expanding the years of basic education from 10 years to 12, presents a once-in-a-generation opportunity to change the country's entire education landscape and to bring the Philippines up to par with our neighbors in the ASEAN region and into the 21st century. So what does this mean to colleges and university this year onwards? So the transition period will result in very low enrollment in the tertiary education as students are required to enter the senior high school instead of going straight to college. Now, what does this mean for faculty members of the schools? So faculty members will be having less or even no teaching load in the coming years. This will mean that they will be free to engage in partnerships with industry partners for the next 5 years. The transition presents a rare opportunity to upgrade our faculty's qualifications as their teaching loads are decreased. So what does this mean for our industry and what can we do to help? So for the displaced or deloaded faculty members who would be having general subjects, they will be the ones who would have less subjects to teach. They can avail of the grants coming from CHED worth 20,000 pesos a month. And with this, they can be immersed in our industry. So faculty may be engaged in commissioned research, technical services, or immersive learning. So this opportunity gives us a chance to address long-standing and systematic problems and invest in a generation of quality talent. So the end result for IBPAP and for the industry is to have teachers who would teach relevant industry curriculum. So that would be our main goal for this project when teachers go back to their respective schools after being immersed in the industry. So for those companies who are interested to participate and be a sectoral partner to host faculty interns, you may shoot us an email. We'll be flashing our email addresses later towards the end of the PowerPoint.
Next month, we will be having our next session. Our topic will be the 7 Habits for Managers. It will be on May 25 at the Ateneo Professional School at Makati. This will be a normal brown bag session. And the following day, we will be having the first ITBPM Business Resiliency Summit. So, oops, wait. Okay, so the 2016 IBPAP and ICTO Business Resiliency Summit is the first forum of its kind that tackles the latest lessons learned and innovations developed for dealing with business disruption wrought by natural disasters. The summit draws from the best practices formulated by subject matter experts on disaster preparedness, proposes the mindset of quick response as key to effective business recovery, and presents groundbreaking strategies for integrating community resiliency into business resiliency. Stay ahead of the curve and drive your company's business continuity plan by drawing from the best of the breed and leading-edge intelligences. And as for June, we'll be having IBPAP's first Visayas Mindanao leg of the General Membership Meeting and HRCC Brown Bag sessions in Marit, Cebu at June 3. So if you have sites there in Cebu or within that area, you can send us the contact details of your colleagues there and we'll be inviting them to our session. This is free and part of your membership dues. Okay, so here is our email addresses for the HRCC Secretariat. If you have any questions or concerns with our events or if you need any assistance from us, just let us know. We'll direct you to the right department. So on behalf of the IBPAP and the HRCC team, we would like to thank POWERinU Philippines, Mr. Jeremy Blaine, and our panel for this afternoon session. We've discussed and or learned so much in the brief period that we were here, and we hope that it was an insightful and informative afternoon for everyone. So we hope to see you soon at our next event, and have a great week ahead, and thank you again for being here.